Dr. Vicki Peterson here. I wanted to share with you a very interesting study that came out of the University of Naples in Italy, and it was published in Clinical Gastroenterology and Hepatology. The word hepatology means the study of the liver. In this study, what the researchers did was they took a form of gluten and they made it into bread, but what was very particular about this wheat flour that they used was it was treated in a very particular way. They hydrolyzed it, and what that means is, in this particular one, it's a way to break down a product and break it down into more component parts. So their ultimate goal was to take the gluten in wheat and get rid of it and actually break it down so much that there was very little gluten left in this flour. So they used lactobacilli, which is an organism that you see in sourdough bread. So if you know about sourdough bread, and there's starters and there's live organisms in those starters, so that's the lactobacilli. They also used a fungus, and what it did was act as a protease, and so proteases break down proteins. So they had these two different organisms that they used to take this wheat and actually turn it into a product that had only 8 parts per million of gluten. And according to government standards, at least in this country, anything under 20 parts per million can be called gluten-free. So this was well within that range. And these individuals had celiac disease, and they consumed a good amount of this bread for 60 days. So it was a good length of time. And then after that 60 days, they rechecked their blood values to make sure that no inflammation was occurring as far as blood tests would reveal for celiac, as well as they also did biopsies. They repeated intestinal biopsies to see if any damage had occurred that way. Now, the intestinal biopsy, maybe you've heard me talk about this, is not the best test. It's not the most sensitive test because there has to be a great deal of eradication and damage done to that small intestine before an intestinal biopsy will show positive. But they did it nonetheless, and perhaps more importantly, they did all the blood values, and those showed absolutely no change, no indication that these celiacs had been exposed to gluten. And of course, the most important thing was that these individuals felt fine. They had none of their typical symptoms as if they had been exposed to gluten, and they went through the 60 days feeling very well with this bread. So there is hope, and I thought it was very exciting, and I wanted to share the good news with you that they're actually working with wheat itself and making it gluten-free. So imagine, we look for those of us who are gluten intolerant, we look for gluten-free oats because oats can be cross-contaminated with glutinous grains, whether it's wheat, rye, or barley. But imagine then searching in your store for gluten-free wheat. It's a little bit hard to get your head around almost, but there you go. I wanted to keep you up to date on some new research, and please let me know if I can assist you in any way. And until next time, I wish you very good health.